The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is my the official, ladies and gentlemen, who gives a damn how late in the morning it is. This is my official post-fight, aftermath. We're live. Make sure you guys smash that like button, all that blase. Listen, there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to say. There's a lot of things to get out the way. So let's get them out the way. So before I get into the fight, before I get into Canelo, let me go ahead and let me give my credit to Terence Crawford. I got it wrong. I got no problem saying I got it wrong. I got no problem stepping up to the plate and raising my hand and say I got it wrong. I'm so happy I got it wrong. I'm so happy that a year of pessimism paid off, because I hated this fight for Terence Crawford. You guys already know. You guys know the drill. I already hated this fight because I felt like it was too much of Terence, as far as not Canelo himself, but more so like just the weight and the way they went about it. And I'm like, man, like, why is he doing this? But you know what? This is why he's Terence Crawford. This is why he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. This is why you shouldn't listen to people like BT. You shouldn't listen to the media. You shouldn't listen to, you got to believe in yourself to the point of delusion. And you know what? That's what he's done. And I said it was a cash out. I said he was selling his O. I said all these things. So it is what it is. I'm telling you right now, guys, if you're going to come on here and like say I was wrong and think that's going to get me upset, I really don't give a fuck that I was wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. Thank the Lord I'm wrong. Because, whether you want to believe it or not, Terence Crawford is actually one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I didn't like the idea of Canelo Alvarez getting credit for beating a guy who beat a welterweight. I hated that. I hated all the possibilities going into the fight. But you know what? Terence Crawford went in there and beat him easy. He outclassed him. It wasn't a particularly hard fight for him. I'm trying not to do this. I'm trying not to do this with fighters because I have a lot of respect for the fighters. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Like, Canelo Alvarez ran away from Dave Benavidez. He didn't want no smoke with Dave Benavidez. He decided to fight a guy who was smaller. He thought it was an easy lick. He thought it was an easy fight, in terms of an easier fight. And guess what, guys? I thought I was gonna stop doing this after May 2nd May 7th of 2022. But I'm sorry. Like, he deserves this. So I'm gonna give y'all what y'all want. Canelo Alvarez exposed by Terence Crawford. Oh my God. I'm sorry. This dude came up from 47. He didn't even have a run at 54. He came up to 68. And he won easily. And you know what, guys? Canelo's a great fighter. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not trying to downplay him. But he got exposed. There's no two ways about it. And I'm going to bring up some of my old Canelo hater talking points. Because one of the things I used to always say back in 2021 for why Canelo Alvarez can't be the best Mexican fighter of all time, he can't even be in the discussion, because every time Canelo's been in a fight where he gets down on the cards or he's losing or it's not going his way, he doesn't he doesn't quit, but he doesn't find a way to actually win these fights. And it's happened again. You could put Crawford on the list, Bivol on the list, and Floyd on the list of guys where that scenario has played itself out. So, great fight. I really don't have anything bad to say about the fight. Was it like the greatest fight of all time? No. But it really wasn't as boring as I thought. It was still, it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't a boring fight, but it wasn't like, a fight of the year or something like that. So it is what it is. You picked Canelo, BT. You just put me on that one. LOL. I just knew Bell was all wrong since the fight got announced. Well, listen, isn't it possible that maybe, guys, I was picking Canelo because I didn't want to get my hopes up on Terence Crawford? Honestly, I didn't want to believe. I didn't want to believe it. Everything in the comments, everything in the on paper just said that it was a dumb move. But you know what? That's why he is what he is. As far as you know what? Because I don't want to be unfair to Canelo. Look, I picked Canelo on points. All right, and I raised my hand. I raised my left hand. I raised my right hand. I don't care if I got it wrong. I didn't bet on the fight, so it don't matter if I got it wrong or if I got it right. But listen, I got it wrong, so I'll even say it. I'll say it for myself. True School Sports exposed by Terence Crawford. He exposed a lot of people tonight. He made a lot of people some money, I'm sure. He made a lot of people look smart, but he also proved a lot of people like myself wrong. So he deserves to have his flowers. He deserves to be pound number one. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. What does this mean? What does this win mean for Terence Crawford in terms of legacy? Because, I mean, first and foremost, he's the sixth or seventh five-division champion in box history. So he joins Leonard. He joins Leonard, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Duran, De La Hoya, and somebody else. He's like 6 or 7. But it's like a very, very small number. So he's part of that class now. He's also the first 3-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era, right? He's in class of his own on that alone. And then he's also the first fighter to win the lineal lightweight title and then later go on to win the lineal super middleweight title. So this is like historical stuff. Like, I still think Floyd Mayweather was a better fighter than Terence Crawford. But now you have to have that conversation. Whether you like it or not, you have to have that conversation. You know, how, you know, is Terence Crawford better than Floyd? You know? What do you guys think? I see we got a lot of people in the chat. Shout out to my guy, Kevin Effect. He says, nobody yells exposed like BT yells exposed. Yes. That's a trademark of True School Sports. Canelo got exposed and I got exposed right along with him, you know, and I'm okay with that. I'm glad. Trust me, I am happy to get exposed because I did not want Terence Crawford's only loss of his career to be against Canelo Alvarez. I did not want to come on here and have people tell me that Canelo Alvarez is better than Salvador Sanchez because he beat a fucking welterweight. So trust me when I tell you guys, I am happy to be wrong. But hold on, we got Matt Borgeston in the chat. I see Matt Borgeston. He says, I doubt we'll see a win like this for the decades to come. I put him in the top 20 of all time, no doubt. Listen, you can rank him as high as you want. Like the achievements speak for themselves. I'll run through it again. He now joins Mayweather, Pacquiao, Leonard, Hearns, Duran, and De La Hoya as one of boxing's only now 7 5-division world champions. And he's the first fighter in the 4-belt era to become a 3-time undisputed champion. He is also the first fighter to win the lineal lightweight title and then later win the lineal super middleweight title. So it is what it is, man. Let's talk about the fight. And shout out to everybody here, you know, rocking with your boy BT. Make sure you smash that like button. Listen, there's 66 of you guys here. I done had a long day today, running around, you know, doing training camp with Yugo Osaki, barely getting any sleep. You know, just my whole day is boxing. And I'm still here and I'm still going live. So make sure y'all run it all the way up. Run it all the way up right now because we charged up on True School Sports. You see, the whole time I kept saying to you guys, man, fuck this fight. I don't like this fight. This fight, I don't care about it. And, you know, because I had such low expectations for it, I think I was able to actually enjoy it more. So beautiful. You guys are saying that Inoue is in 15 minutes. No. Is it? No way. Inoue is not no damn 15 minutes. It's not even. He's supposed to fight like at 3 in the morning. I think 6 in the morning Eastern time, 3 in the morning Pacific time. So no, it isn't time for that yet. But nonetheless, we're here. Let me see. You guys are going crazy in the comments. Crawford is one up, if not the last headlining American boxer making fights, pushing the sport forward. He should retire. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it like this. Before I get into the fight, I feel like Terence Crawford should go out on top. If there was ever a case in the history of boxing of a fighter who has nothing left at all to prove, this is it. This is it. Like, the dude is literally a 3-time undisputed champion, 5 division champion, just done all kinds of unprecedented things in boxing. 100% knockout ratio as a welterweight. And it's crazy, like, when you think about all the guys Crawford has fought, Canelo and a lot of the Canelo fanboys, they made a big deal about that Crawford hasn't been in no big fights, quote unquote. He hasn't fought the guys on Canelo's resume, quote unquote. And literally, like, Sean Porter gave Crawford a better fight than Canelo. Victor Postal gave Crawford a better fight than Canelo. Ricky Burns gave Crawford a better fight than Canelo. Yes, yes. Who else? Who else could you say? Madrimov. You guys know how much I shit on Madrimov because I don't like his style. Madrimov gave Crawford a tougher fight than Canelo. So listen, man. Canelo Alvarez, look, he is a great fighter. He is going to the Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not. But man, a lot of my old feelings, all them old feelings from 2021 are starting to flare up. They're starting to come back to the surface. It's bad. It's bad, bro. 115, 113 on 2 cards. You say Alvarez won 3 rounds if you're super generous. So let's talk about the fight, guys, because truthfully, I thought Canelo won about 3 rounds myself. Now, one thing that was really impressive to me is that pretty much Terence Crawford stayed exclusively in the southpaw stance for this fight. Canelo, you know, I thought one of the things that Canelo could have used to his advantage, and to his credit, he did actually, you know, land some good shots to the body. But, you know, when you're a southpaw, your liver's in the front. So I felt like if Crawford was going to stay in the southpaw stance for an extensive period of time, that could be used against him. That could be like a real disadvantage for him. And it wasn't, because Terence Crawford, I said it in my last live. I said that, you know, if Terence is to win this fight, we're going to have to see the Terence Crawford from the Ray Beltran fight, because that was the last time I really saw Terence, you know, box, move, circle the ring, and box in the way that he needed to. So my thing is, yeah, Terence Crawford, every time he felt that he was near a corner, he pivot out to the side. You know, his jab was very consistent. He knew when and how to thread the needle. He was doing a great job of threading the needle, punching in between the shots of Canelo. And then as he kind of got accustomed to Canelo's power and punching patterns and punch selection, these kind of things, then he held his feet. Then he walked him down. Then he was throwing more combinations. Like to his credit, a lot of fighters they sell out of wolf tickets to the public. Terence Crawford, everything he said he was going to do in the build-up to this fight, he wound up doing. He wound up walking down Canelo in the later rounds. He outboxed him. He outfought him. He just outclassed him around the board. And Canelo Alvarez, while I do think, and I've always said this, guys, so this is not a new thought. This is not me throwing Canelo under the bus. I've always thought Canelo is overrated. And those of you who have watched me long enough know that I've never thought that Canelo Alvarez was ever as great as advertised. Is he an A-level fighter? Yes. Did I pick him to win? Yes. Was I wrong? Yes. But I never thought that he was in the same class of Mexican fighters like Salvador Sanchez, Oscar De La Hoya, Ricardo Lopez, Eric Morales. I never thought he was in the class of those guys. And he had another chance against, so when you look at Canelo's career in a vacuum, right, in totality so far, the best fighters he fought are Floyd, Crawford, Golovkin, and Bivol. And he damn near lost to all of them, you know? So, you know, make of that what you will. That's just the truth. And he still hasn't knocked out a Hall of Famer in his entire 75 career. So look, that's just the truth. But as far as going back to the fight, yeah, I thought Terence Crawford in them early rounds did a great job of earning Canelo's respect, knowing when to punch, knowing when to sharpshoot. And then I was really impressed with how he steadily grew into the fight in the middle rounds, in the later rounds, made the adjustments. And it's like, I think I'm so accustomed to seeing Terence Crawford as the apex predator, as the guy that's always going for the knockout, as the guy that's always punching through the target, that sometimes I forget that, yo, he does like, he does have those the ability to not just be a knockout artist or march forward and punch to the target. Like, nah, man. It's been a while since he's boxed like this. Because at welterweight, he was knocking everybody out. Everyone. He's 100% knockout ratio. But, you know, again, this fight reminded me very much of his fight against Ray Beltran, where he stayed exclusively in the southpaw stance, circled the ring, used all the, you know, used the whole ring. It's what he needed to do, and he did it to a T. And actually probably even did it better than I thought he'd do it. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. My man Twirl Zach says, BT, your analysis is not good. I'm just going to be honest. You say the most trivial points with no deep insights. And you're still here. And you're still here. And you're still watching True School because this is the best boxing channel on YouTube. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. You're still here listening to my non-boxing knowing ass because you know this is the best channel on YouTube. So that's why you're still here. So thank you. Thank you, champ. I call it back in May. It doesn't surprise me at all. No, Crawford isn't the greatest for doing so. I still think this fight is better than Crawford. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's better than Sugar Ray Leonard, and I don't think he's better than Floyd. But, you know, you got to be fair. I'm fair, but I'm firm. Like, he's put himself, he don't got to be above those guys, right? But he's put himself in that conversation, right? Because for years we heard Terence Crawford hasn't beaten nobody great. He beat Errol Spence, right? Beat Canelo, right? So, you know, first lineal lightweight champion to later go up in his career and win the lineal super middleweight title. That's unprecedented. You got to give the man his due. I don't give a damn if you like Canelo. I don't give a damn if you like Crawford. I don't care who you picked, who you got, who if you got it right, if you got it wrong. Give that man his just due. He earned it. Shout out to Lord Hybrid with the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, champ. He says, Bomac had the real card back in. He told Crawford to stop exchanging and box him. Crawford wanted to fight Canelo. When Crawford starts sticking his tongue out, you know he's going to win. Terence Crawford has the heart of the line. And that, yes, 1,000% he does. This was definitely a better version of Crawford than we saw in the Madrimov fight, which is amazing because it was very unencouraging when I went to LA last year and I watched him against Madrimov because he's better than that, right? But Madrimov does have an awkward style, so he did. You know, maybe there was a point to that. But yeah, great point, Lord Hybrid. In the latter rounds, Canelo started to really land. Like he started really loading up on his shots even more. He landed a couple overhand rights. There were a couple shots that hit Crawford clean, and Bomac did have to reel him back in because that apex predator that I always talk about was starting to show its head in the latter rounds. And look, you already up a bunch of rounds. You're already winning this fight easy. You don't need to, you don't need to chance this. You don't need to chance this. And so, look, we got to give credit to Bomac, right? But I don't want to just stop at Bomac. Like, I'm a fair guy. Let's give credit to Bomac for a great game plan. Let's give credit to Isao Dieguez, one of the other coaches that never gets any recognition, but he's a great coach. He's I think he's a big reason why Terence Crawford is the counterpuncher he is. Give credit to Red Spikes. Give credit to Bernie the Boxer. Give credit to the whole Terence Crawford team, his family, anybody that just has anything to do with his success. That white guy whose name I don't even know, who's always in the background, you got to give him credit too. Like, they all deserve their just due. But what are y'all saying in the chat? Y'all going crazy in the chat. Huge shout out to Eddie Reynoso, who had no plan. Again, we're not trying to hate on Canelo, but the facts is the facts. These Eddie Reynoso fighters all lose the same way, and they all lose to the same styles, and they all lose for the same reasons. And it's a tale as old as time itself. So I just don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. But listen, Canelo Alvarez had what? Canelo Alvarez made probably like over 100 million. So did he really lose? Like if he made over 100 million, who cares, right? At the end of the day, when the ACH clears in his bank account, he ain't gonna feel like no damn loser. I'll tell you that. What's a loss to Crawford, right? That's the truth of it in the grand scheme of things. But it's a bad look. It really is a bad look for Canelo Alvarez. You spent all this time ducking and dodging Dave Benavidez. You had a chance to give the Mexican fight fans something special and probably be in a fight that was stylistically a little bit better for you because you wouldn't have had to deal with a guy that is sharpshooting and threading the needle through the middle, and you decided to not do that. You decided to, flee to Saudi, duck Dave Benavidez all these years, and now you got exposed again by a guy who's literally a welterweight. So, I mean, you listen, Canelo Alvarez literally is not even in shouting distance. Forget him being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. He's great. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But he is not even within shouting distance of being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Straight up. It's been proven. You put him in there with Bivol. You put him in there with Mayweather. You put him in there with Crawford. You put him in there with Golovkin. This is what it is. And, yeah. Crawford's career is better than Floyd's career in the sense that Crawford fought who was willing to fight the most his career. Floyd picked his fights. That's not easy to say. Crawford would beat Floyd, though. That's not to say Crawford would beat Floyd, though. I mean, look, it's two different career arcs. You had one guy who got to become the face of boxing because he had the luxury of being in the same era with Oscar De La Hoya. He beat Oscar De La Hoya, and he was a very controversial figure. He knew how to market himself, and he had a very extroverted personality. So, that benefited him. Terence is not like that. You understand? Crawford's win tonight was better than any win Floyd had on his resume, but his resume is nowhere close collectively. Floyd did beat Canelo too. I mean, I know you could say it was a different Canelo. Let me ask you guys this, and I want to poll the chat. Do you think this version of Canelo Alvarez is better than the version of Canelo Alvarez that Floyd fought? Because you could say the version of Canelo that Floyd fought was too young, but you could also say that this version of Canelo Alvarez was too old. So which one was better? And a lot of you guys making a great point. You're saying that apparently Canelo Alvarez has more fights left in his contract with Turkey Al Al Sheikh in Riyadh season, so he's gonna continue to fight that. This isn't ever Canelo, but I'm like, damn, he was looking kind of washed. Hold on, guys. He was looking kind of washed in the William Skov fight, and then he didn't really have no answers tonight. So it's like, if you're not going to retire now, then when the hell are you going to retire? It's got to happen at some point. I know you love boxing. I know you love this fight game. We all love this fight game. Like I love this fight game. Canelo love this fight game. You guys love this fight game. That's why we're all here. But really and truthfully, he just don't got it like that no more, and it's okay. Father time gets the best of everybody. But you guys keep saying the Inoue card is coming on, so I'm gonna figure some shit out while I'm talking to you guys, cause we ain't gonna miss the Inoue fight. I'll tell you that right now. And if you guys are wondering, BT, are you gonna do anything for the Inoue fight? You bet your ass I am. This is Inoue we're talking about here. This is the home of Japanese boxing. Would I be the home of Japanese boxing on YouTube if I didn't cover the Inoue fight? You guys know who you're talking to? Floyd chose to not pursue Undisputed. He could have had more accomplishments. He didn't want them. He chose money. Crawford didn't have the same luxury to pick. He had exactly. But again, that goes back to the 2 points I made earlier. He had that luxury because of how he was as a person. Like, he has a very extroverted personality. He knew how to market himself. He knew how to play on the emotions of people, good or bad, and use it to his advantage. And he had guys like, what's his name? He had De La Hoya. He had guys like De La Hoya to fight in his era to beat. So he had a couple luxuries that Terence didn't have. But they're all great fighters, man. I'm happy for Terence. Like, I'm legitimately happy to be wrong. I'm happy that he won in that Outclassed Canelo. Like, you guys know, and I'm not lying to you. You guys know I'm not no Canelo fan. You guys know I could really care less for Canelo. So, but I'm glad my pessimism has paid off. I had a great night. I was watching the fight. I went to a fight party here in the Bay Area. There was good food. Let me see. Shout out to my guy, Beth Animal. He says, it's been 12 years since Floyd beat Canelo to the date. I love your channel, by the way. Exactly. Shout out to you, champ. And shout out to Floyd Mayweather. Shout out to everybody here. I think if Canelo does fight, he's probably going to fight some British guy. He'll probably fight like I can see Canelo fighting like a Chris Eubank or some bullshit like that. What do you guys think? I'm thinking he fights like a Chris Eubank. I always thought that they do the Hamza Shiraz fight, but he lost this fight, so I think the Hamza Shiraz fight is not a thing anymore. But let me see. They got Facebook because Inoue's fighting on Facebook. That's where we at these days. Facebook. Go to the Play Store. These smart TVs, they got apps so you can. Canelo would get beat by Boo Boo Andrade. Listen, you guys know. You guys know how what I always told you about with Boo Boo Andrade. I always told you guys years ago that Demetrius Andrade, particularly at 154 and 160, I always felt like he would beat Canelo, but he never got the opportunity, and he never really got any opportunities for big fights until he got to fight Dave Benavidez, which was a fight he was never really gonna win, even though I really wanted him to. So, you know, maybe you know what? Maybe they can still do that fight. Maybe we can still do Andrade versus Canelo. What do you guys think? Wow. I'm probably gonna go live right after the Inoue fight, to be honest with you guys, because this shit's on Facebook and I'm using somebody else's smart TV, and I gotta. Yeah, I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go live after the Inoue fight. It's probably better that way. But listen, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here with you guys. We'll be here for like an hour or two. So let your comments be known. If you're one of those people over the last 9 to 10 months that didn't like my content, where I was saying that Terence was selling his O and I was downplaying the fight and saying the fight was gonna suck and all these things, shit, let me have it. I don't care. I'm happy to be wrong. Like, the joke's on you guys. I'm happy to be wrong. Terence Crawford didn't lose to Canelo, and Canelo is not gonna get all this ridiculous praise from the media for beating a guy who came from 47. So all is good in the boxing world. God is great, and happy days. Shout out to Hollow Ninja for the $2 super chat. He says, I'm gonna go troll the fuck out of Punch Drunk and IBFP, man. Go troll him, man. Go troll him. It's all in good fun, guys. Who cares? Who cares if you get a fight right? Who cares if you get a fight wrong? It's not that big of a deal, but it's fun. It's all fun. I actually thought, honestly, guys, I really thought for a point in time in the later rounds, I thought Crawford was going to stop Canelo because he hit him a couple times, and I didn't like the way Canelo was reacting. Canelo Alvarez had the body language of somebody that was ready to go. And that's why I think Crawford actually tried to step on the gas and get him out of there. And obviously, he wound up getting clipped with some shots that his coach, Bomac, didn't like, and that's why he went back to his boxing, and that's why he won, and that's why he is the first three-time undisputed champion in the four-belt era. So it's beautiful, man. I'm so serious, guys. I've never been happier to be wrong about a fight, and while I don't think like the fight wasn't boring, right? I'm not gonna say it was boring, but I wouldn't put it in the fight of the year conversation, right? It was a good tactical fight. There was some great things from a stylistic standpoint and the nuances of boxing that you can appreciate, especially the way Terence Crawford was using the ring and pivoting and all these kind of things. But could have been a lot worse. Canelo could have won a boring fight, and we'd have people saying he's better than Salvador Sanchez. So it's happy days, man. I'm happy about it. Good for Bomac, good for Terence. I'm happy to be wrong. It's the most beautiful. If there was ever a fight I was wrong, I'm happy to be wrong for. I'm glad it's this one. The biggest fight in the post Mayweather Pacquiao era. Let me see, one. Oh yeah, we gonna watch this Inoue fight. Hell yeah, hold on, we're gonna watch this Inoue fight. We're gonna get all this shit ready for you guys. Cause are we seeing any streams of Pops in the near future? I hope he's doing good. What do you think? What does he think of the night fight tonight? Well, you know what, guys? See, two-step verification. Guys, give me 1 second. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. All right, my bad, guys. I'm trying to get. All right, my bad, guys. I'm trying to get the Facebook set up on this TV because I want to watch this Inoue fight, but I gotta download the Facebook app to the smart TV. So we're doing that. We're killing two birds with one stone. We're walking and we're chewing gum at the same time. I'm not sure if I'm going live for the Inoue fight, and if I do, it'll probably be a separate live. It's not gonna be on this live because I want to have my live separate. Why the fuck is it doing this? Why on God's green? Hold on, go back, go back. But yeah, give me your comments, guys. I'm reading the comments. I'm getting set up for the Inoue fight because boxing can't just schedule fights 10 hours apart from each other. No, no, no. They gotta have fights scheduled within like freaking 4 hours of each other, so there's no time to really dissect or do content. So yeah, but as far as my dad, listen, my dad, you know, he's got his fair share of fights from him, but my dad knows boxing. Like, there's a reason why I became True School Sports. I became this person that, you know, fighters call for help, and I do help fighters a lot, to be honest with you. And they do succeed. Um, my dad knows boxing. He didn't pick Canelo. He said he got Crawford, and he was right. So, I was wrong, but shit, Pops wasn't. Pops knows boxing, unlike BT. You see, they don't got the damn Facebook app on here. You see, they got Facebook. Wow, really? Okay, so they don't got the Facebook app on here. So listen, this is the plan, guys. For some reason, as you guys can see, I'm on that TV right there. That TV don't have the Facebook app. So I'm gonna have to watch the Inoue fight on my phone, and then I'll come on live after the Inoue fight. I promise you guys, and I'll give you like an hour and a half at least, or 2 hours possibly, for the Inoue live. It depends on how you guys show up and what kind of interaction we get. But until then, listen, give me your guys your thoughts. Make sure you smash that like button. Listen, I have every reason to go to sleep right now, but I'm here because I'm a professional, and this is the sport of boxing, and I love this sport, and I had a great night. And a fight that I really wasn't excited about, that I was very negative about in the build-up, I actually enjoyed it. So it wasn't so bad. What do you make about Terence Crawford? Do you think Terence Crawford is the definitive pound number one fighter in the world now? What do you rank him amongst boxing's all-time greats? What does this do for Canelo's legacy in your eyes? Do you feel like Canelo Alvarez has fallen down the list of Mexican greats? They mentioned a rematch. Is there even a reason for a rematch? Because really, Canelo Alvarez didn't do anything, in my opinion, to warrant any sort of rematch. He got outclassed. Like, rematches are supposed to be for fights of consequence that are close. This shit wasn't close. Let me go back downstairs. Let me go back downstairs and talk to you guys, because we don't want to wake up the future face of Japanese boxing. We want that young man Yuga to get his sleep. So let's go back downstairs and let's not be rude. But let me go downstairs. Shout out to Greg Hackett, Boxing TV in the building. Shout out to Greg. He's a smart boxing mind. Come on. Let's go back downstairs, because we don't want to wake up the young champion in the other room. We got maybe 30 minutes left, so 30 minutes, hour or so left, and then we're gonna get ready for the Inoue fight. Because again, boxing programming got to get it together. You got all these great fighters fighting, and I ain't mad at it. But man, it's like there's no time. There's no time to really dissect all this stuff and really let it absorb. But yeah, man, great. Just what I was really impressed about from Crawford is that he actually did what I said he needed to do. He actually said, "Are you living with your parents?" I'm not even in the state where I live right now. I'm in California right now. I'm in training camp. Listen, what really impressed me about Crawford is that he actually did what I said he needed to do to win this fight, which is he went back to being that guy in the Ray Beltran fight. The guy that was patient, circling the ring, using his lateral movement, and he did a great job too, I think, of recognizing the lulls in action from Canelo. Canelo Alvarez didn't, he's always had this habit, especially as he's moved up higher in weight. He's had this habit of, really fighting in spurts, really. And Crawford, when he saw those opportunities, he would get his shit off, he would score, and then he would just, get to the next thing defensively and stay responsible, stay sharp. And that's what this fight needed. That's what it commanded for him, and that's ultimately what we got. So I'm really impressed, because Terence Crawford is so great at being the seek and destroy apex predator that sometimes you forget that he does have that in his bag, and he showed us tonight that he did have it in his bag. So I was happy for him. Turtle Wild sucks. Shout out to you with the $5 super chat. He says, great win for Bud. Let's go 168 undisputed. Also, RuneScape is better than World of Warcraft. I mean, listen, I ain't never really played World of Warcraft, and I didn't really play RuneScape, if I'm honest with you, but I like RuneScape because it was pretty cool. Like when I used to go to the library and shit when I was a kid, all the kids with no computers would be at the library playing RuneScape. So I thought that was pretty cool. But thank you for the super chat. Yes, Bud is the 160 undisputed. So my thing is this, right? Let's say if Terence Crawford doesn't retire, let's say he decides to keep fighting. What is there left to do? Because you had Christian and Billy on the undercard, who, by the way, you know, we'll touch more on the undercard in separate videos on a different live. But Christian and Billy and Lester Martinez tonight, they really put on a great fight. And Billy continues to show the world that he is one of boxing's premier volume punchers, because the guy, you know, sometimes these punches he throws at times are arm punches. Many times they're arm punches, but he just gets his shit off and it lands and it scores and he just stays right on top of you. He don't go nowhere. So he's not a big name, right? He's a bigger name after tonight, but he's still not like a big name. So do you think, like, is Crawford going to stick around after just fighting Canelo in the biggest fight like 10 years to fight Christian and Billy? I don't think so. Is he going to fight Diego Pacheco? I don't think so. So there's not really anything I can see from him at 68. Benavidez isn't there, and even if he was, I don't think he'd fight him either. There's nothing left for him to do. You guys tell me, what fight could Terence Crawford take right now that you think would be realistic and lucrative enough for him to still box after this fight? I mean, I know Jaron Ennis is at 54. Is he going to jump up 2 weight classes to fight Crawford? I don't think so. I think they got their roadmap there. They're doing their own thing with his career. That fight's not going to happen. So, you know, there's nothing left to prove. The era is done, all right? When one chapter closes, another chapter begins. And I feel like the chapter of, like, Canelo, like that whole era of Canelo, Crawford, Roman Gonzalez, who fought yesterday and looked washed, that whole era, them guys on HBO back in the day, that era is done. And I feel like this should be the close of that era. Some of you guys are saying that Terence Crawford should go back down to 154 and unify. It's a great question. That'd be interesting. I'll tell you this: if he was willing to do that, which, by the way, let's just be real. Like, and I don't like saying this for fighters, but I feel like if there was ever a fighter who earned the right to do whatever the fuck they want to do in their career, as of now, it's Terence Crawford. He's done it. He's done it, man. So, 54, I mean, you can go there and fight Boots. I mean, if you go to 54, that Boots fight is still a possibility. And I'd love to see it. You know, I want us to see that fight. And I think a lot of the negativity that I had about Canelo and Crawford coming into the buildup was from the fact that I wanted to see Terence fight a guy like Boots. Even though there was reasons why it didn't happen. I just wanted to see it. And I feel like it was never really anything on his immediate to-do list, right? So, you know, it'd be cool if that fight happened. If not that fight, then you have Virgil Ortiz, which would be a great fight. You have Sebastian Fundora, which was a fight that was talked about at one point. You got Bakram, which he really don't got to fight Bakram. Like, Bakram, you know, Bakram is a good fighter, but you just fought Canelo. You beat Canelo. You just did something that's never been done in the history of boxing. Like, guys, I'm going to say this probably for the 15th time because it deserves to be said. It deserves to be praised. It deserves to be repeated. He literally just became the lineal super middleweight champion. And earlier in his career, he was the lineal lightweight champion. This has never been done in the history of our glorious sport. And he went ahead and did it. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the man is special. What's my Inoue fight prediction? That's a great question, man. It's obviously a hard fight because MJ can punch, and MJ does have a lot of amateur background and experience. Again, going back to like what I said with Crawford, it all depends on if Inoue has the mental discipline to box for 12 rounds. Now look, Inoue is a guy, probably even more than Crawford, who's never really shown, he hasn't had to in his career because normally he hits these guys and they can't take this power long enough to keep, you know, in the fight. he never has to win fights by decision because very few fighters, if any, have been able to stand up to his power. So I feel like this is the fight where he may have this is the fight where Inoue gets to really prove that he's pound for pound. So I'm gonna go with Inoue, and I'm gonna say Inoue by late stoppage. I think MJ's punch selection will get a little repetitive. I think Inoue will respect the power early. He'll start to get his rhythm in the middle rounds, and I think later on he'll wind up getting them. I think that's how it goes. Crawford shouldn't do any rematch. Retire as middleweight champion. Canelo needs to fight those fighters he's been avoiding. I agree. Go fight Demetrius Andrade. Go fight Benavidez. At this point, especially if you're talking about Andrade. Andrade is not his best self. Canelo sure as hell ain't his best self. So go do that fight. Go dig him up. Go find where he's at and go dig him up and go do that fight. Or go fight Benavidez and give the Mexican fans the fight they asked for years on end. Did I know that MJ's only loss was on Ramadan? Matt Borgeson, shout out to you. I did not know that. Are you Ramadan or not? He lost. So it doesn't say on BoxRec that you lost because of Ramadan. It just says you lost. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see it go. For Merjan, there's never really been a Uzbekistan fighter to really become a star. If he knocks out Inoue, he's gonna be a star. He's gonna be someone that people talk about in boxing, because everyone knows Inoue. Inoue's on that level of the top guys in the sport, like the creme de la creme. So if you knock him out, that puts you at a whole nother level. Canelo was in big trouble before that headbutt. It stopped the Crawford's momentum. Very good point. Very good point. That headbutt, that headbutt really changed things because Terence was putting punches together really nicely. He was changing the speed and the cadence of his punches flawlessly tonight. And one of the things that he's been renowned for years is just his counter punching ability and his ability more so to thread the needle, to find really tight windows of the opponent and punch in between those spots. And he did that with Canelo perfectly tonight, even from the first round, because the first round he threw a jab and then he looped the left hand around the guard and it caught Canelo right on the ear. So even in the very first round, Terence was finding holes in the Canelo defense. And look, man, what more can I say? The guy is special. Hey BT, do you see MJ gave Inoue a gift? I think it's a strategy. What strategy is it to make him lower? What kind of strategy do you think it is? You put me on Uni Takada. Do you think he wins tonight? Uni Takada's fighting Ryusei Matsumoto, who's a prospect. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even do my homework for that fight. I know who Uni Takada is, and I know Matsumoto's undefeated, but I haven't really I've been so busy, I haven't even had time to study that fight. But one thing I can say is if Ryusei Matsumoto if he can't put Uni Takada on his back foot, he's gonna be in for a very long night. Because Uni Takada, he just stays right on top of you. He's half Filipino, half Japanese. So with them two countries, all their fighters come for the smoke. All their fighters come to get knockouts, and they don't really give a fuck about defense. They'll trade some defense for some offense, which is stupid and will get you knocked out. But at the same time, it will get you a lot of knockouts too if you're fighting the right guy. So we're gonna find out if Matsumoto is the right guy here in a little bit. Probably, because what time is it now? It's I don't know, probably 12 something, 1 something in the morning here on the West Coast. Canelo should fight the likes of Andre Ward. Nah, man. Listen, shout out to Andre Ward. He actually did a good job on commentary tonight. I don't think he was that biased. A lot of people were saying that Andre Ward was going to be biased or commentary. I actually thought he did a great job tonight. BT, is a rematch necessary also? Is this your boxer of the year? I have to say so. Even though it was only one fight, for Terence Crawford to become the first lineal lightweight champion, to become the first lineal super middleweight champion, it's never been done in the history of boxing. So just on GP, just on general principle alone, I think he'd have to be. Who else would you put there? Maybe the only guy I think you can maybe make an argument for is Brian Norman Jr. if he knocks out Devin Haney. if not him, maybe what Inoue for activity. But Inoue hasn't had, Inoue hasn't even had no like real signature fights this year in terms of like top guys. He's just been active. This merge-on fight is probably the biggest fight he's gonna have in terms of fighting a top fighter. Yi Jun Kim, Cardenas, Picasso. I don't think so. See, I would say Crawford right now, and you give if he can knock out Devin Haney, you give Brian Noman consideration too. Canelo was one of the easiest wins. Yeah, he definitely was, and I need people to apologize to Sean Porter. People always hate on my boy Sean Porter, but Sean Porter has given many a men their hardest nights in the ring. He gave Terence Crawford probably his hardest fight at welterweight, even with him having a terrible training camp. Because he said it himself, and I know Sean, so I've been part of discussions with him personally, and he's told me about his training camp. He had a terrible training camp, and he still gave Terence Crawford like one of the hardest fights of his entire career. And people don't like to give Sean Porter his flowers. If anything, this fight should really open people's eyes up to the guys on Crawford's resume, like Sean Porter, like Kavaluskis, Mean Machine. What did BFTB Boxing call him 5 years ago when I went on this channel? Green Beans. Green Beans gave Terence Crawford a harder fight than Canelo. Easier than Spence. I can't lie. The Spence performance left me more stunned. I actually wasn't surprised at the Spence fight. I actually called that fight to the round. I got that fight right. I got this fight wrong, but I got that fight right, and I actually called the exact round. So I wasn't shocked with Spence. I think people were overrating what Spence was at that particular point in his career. I didn't even think at that point in time that Errol Spence really was a pound-for-pound fighter at that time. But a lot of people did, so that's why the win is so highly regarded. Jose Benavidez Jr. gave Terence Crawford a better fight with a bad knee. Yes, keep him coming. Tim Bradley deserves his flowers. He believed in Terence ever since they first sparred. That was an inspirational video you put out there, BT, about that moment. Thank you. Yeah, that was I had Tim here back in 2022, and he spoke very deeply and insightfully about the experience sparring Terence Crawford. And that video actually began making its rounds around Twitter. People were reposting that in the build-up to this fight. So, yeah, Tim Bradley, he's probably like the original Terence Crawford fanboy, because he should be. Because that when he sparred Terence wasn't even like, his name wasn't popping like that. Terence was a guy that had a promoter named Chris Middendorf. And Chris Middendorf had a company which ironically was called TKO Boxing, right? But TKO Boxing before TKO Boxing. The company was so broke that they bought it. Top Rank bought out Chris Middendorf and TKO Boxing, the old TKO Boxing, the bullshit TKO Boxing, and they agreed to pay, I believe it was 8% to Middendorf, right? Then after a certain amount of time, Top Rank stopped paying Middendorf 8%. Middendorf sues Top Rank, and they had to go to court and all that, blase. But he's come all the way from that. When Bradley sparred him, his name wasn't buzzing. That was happening in his career. The top promoters in boxing didn't want to touch him because they didn't think that a fighter from Omaha, Nebraska was marketable enough and could be what he ultimately went on to become, which is, one of the greatest fighters ever. And, like even in his own amateur class, like guys like, what's his name? You had, Danny Garcia, Brandon Rios. These guys are all, more sought after by the promoters coming out of the amateurs. So it's it goes to show you, man, like I'm actually inspired. Terence Crawford has inspired me. He inspired me early in his career, but seeing to now where he's got to, man, he's inspired me that, like, look, man, no matter what people say, as long as you have that belief in yourself, as long as you keep going, as long as you keep perfecting your craft, as long as you keep doing what you got to do day in and day out, great things will happen to you. Not good things, but great things. So, yeah, I'm inspired. I'm very, very inspired. Congratulations to Terence Crawford. Congratulations to the whole city of Omaha, Nebraska. Shout out to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He did it. He went ahead and did it. They got to make a movie about Terence Crawford. They do. QC, what's good? Champion said, what's good, BT? I've been riding from the 135-pound HBO days and the new. Yes, sir. Shout out to him. The reality is Bud is dark-skinned, not that handsome, and promoters shy away from that. Bud, his talent is now his brand. Well, I hear you. I'm not really into judging men's looks. I'll judge women's looks, but I understand. I feel like, boxing promoters, if a guy can fight, he can fight, Now, if a guy can't fight, then he can't fight. But Bud could fight. It didn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that he could fight, He just needed the opportunity to prove that he could fight, And every time he's gotten that opportunity on the highest levels, he just continues to deliver over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter who they put in front of him, what weight class it's at, he gets delivered every single time. So happy for the guy. God bless him. Hopefully, I really want to see him go out on a high. Like 41-0 or 42-0? I think 42-0. 42-0, 31 knockouts, 5 division champion. Was it multiple time? 4-time lineal champion. I mean, the guy did it all in boxing. Bud versus Bivol at 168. You know what? Funny enough, Bivol did say he was talking about and he was flirting with the idea of fighting Canelo at 168 for those belts after he beat him. A rematch was discussed. He said he would go to 168 to fight for Canelo's undisputed belts. Listen, man, I would love that idea. I think that'd be amazing. I swear on my life, okay, it's one thing that he beat Canelo. That's cool. If he were to fight Bivol at 168, I'm telling y'all right now, with all due respect, fuck Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Robinson, all them guys, respectfully. If Bivol come down to 68 and Terence Crawford beats Dimitri Bivol, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. I'm done. The guy. Then at that point, it would just be like way up here. Would you agree that Canelo is an overachiever? Yeah, actually, I think so. I mean, he's a good fighter. I think I'm gonna quote my boy Stacey McKinley because I did an interview with Stacey McKinley like 2 or 3 years ago, and Stacey McKinley said, I asked him what he thought about Canelo in terms of like in terms of history, like what does he think about him, and he said that he feels Canelo just came along at the right time. Like he doesn't think he's a bad fighter. He gave him credit as an elite fighter, but he doesn't see him in the same cloth or ilk as Salvador Sanchez, Julio Cesar Chavez, those kind of guys, right? And I feel like I'm not going to demean the man's skills. He's a very good fighter, elite fighter, Hall of Famer, one of the greats. But he's not on that Salvador Sanchez, Ricardo Lopez level when it comes to the Mexican fighters. I'm sorry, he's not. I don't care if he became the first Mexican to become undisputed. I'm talking about in terms of talent, skills, and ability. He's not on that level. Who do I got for the... You guys keep asking me about the Inoue Takada fight. I don't really have a prediction for that fight. Are they fighting right now? Because y'all are asking me about Inoue Takada. Are they fighting right now? So explain why Bob Arum treated him like a second-rate boxer when he was his golden egg. Because Terence Crawford had high guarantees in his contract, right? And because he had high guarantees in his contract and because he probably negotiated a great contract for himself, let me explain something to you guys about boxing and these promoters and how they operate. You said at 4:15 Eastern? Because I'm not on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. But let me explain something to you guys about these boxing promoters. These boxing promoters, they want things that are favorable to them. and they don't care if it's at your expense. They don't care if it's, like you're gonna be in the red in terms of finances. As long as they're good, that's all that matters, right? It's very dog eat dog when it comes to dealing with these boxing promoters. And promoters, they love fighters that just love to fight and don't care about the business. Oh, they love that because they can say, here's $2,000 for a 10-round non-title fight, and fighters take it, and the promoters don't gotta pay a lot, and it fills a slot, and any money they make above $2,000, they can make it as a profit for themselves. So it's great. They keep the overhead low and keep the profits high. You understand? So they don't like when fighters actually negotiate good contracts for themselves. And Bud had high guarantees, which is why he only fought once a year, which is why I feel like Bob Arum made those comments about losing so much money on Terence Crawford that he could build a house in Beverly Hills with the money he's lost on him. That's what I think. That's why I think that's happened. That happened. That's why I think they treat him like second class, because Terence Crawford wasn't a peon, he wasn't a pushover, and he negotiated a contract that protected his best interests. And truth be told, I'm telling y'all, I'm not telling y'all something I think. I'm telling y'all something I know. As someone who speaks to matchmakers regularly, as someone that talks to managers regularly, as someone that all that stuff. I know how people in the boxing industry are, and anybody who's talked to people in the boxing industry will tell you how cutthroat and how dog eat dog it is. And I feel like the way in which Terence Crawford's career at Top Rank was handled, it speaks to that. So, yeah. Bro, don't ever put him and Inoue on the same level. I know you're gonna ignore. They are on the same level. If anything, hate to break it to you, and I love Inoue. And listen, I love Inoue. Inoue is one of my favorite fighters. I literally started going to Japan just because of Inoue. But as of tonight, I'm sorry to say it, but as of tonight, until Inoue goes to featherweight and does some crazy shit up there, as of tonight, I think Terence Crawford has put himself in a class by himself. Sorry, I wasn't that excited for the fight. You guys know I shitted on the fight. I didn't think it was gonna be a great fight. And I still don't think it was a great fight. I think it was a good fight. But yeah. Johnny says, can I get my credit? No, you can't get no credit. Go piss off. Did Bud only make $10 million in this fight? I don't know what he made. I heard he made a lot of money. Major Key Boxing, my main man, 50 grand. Glenn Avery in the building. What's up, champ? Usyk and Bud on top for now. Yeah, I feel like, Johnny says you're hating on me. No, I'm not hating on you. Because you're going to call me, and I'm going to talk to you later on. So why I got to say it here? So you can record it and go put it on Instagram? Nah, man. We'll talk later on. All I'll tell you is, congrats. But Devin Haney is getting done the fuck up when he fights Brian Norman Jr. See, I didn't care about this fight. That's why I got it wrong. I don't get fights that I actually care about wrong. When I actually care about a fight, I don't get it wrong. Bud has always been on top from 2017. We'll see. Now that Bud is King of Hill, if you were managing Bud, what would be his next move for 2025 going into next year? Retire. There's nothing left to prove. What is he going to do? What is Terence going to do? What is it to do? Like he already won a title 54. Now maybe look, if Terence really want to answer your question, because I don't want to not answer your question. If Terence wants to do one more thing in boxing that he hasn't done, right? Because you got to remember he won a title at 154. He went to 168, which means that he skipped 160. So if he being Terence, if he were to go to middleweight and win a world title, that would make Terence Crawford a 6-division world champion. So if I was Terence's manager, I would explore what the best and most realistic pathway to becoming the middleweight champion of the world is. And I would try to go out on the high of becoming a 6th-division champion. But that's only if Terence Crawford has it in his heart to still compete and still keep fighting at the highest level. If Really, he really should just retire. I think. I really don't think there's nothing left to prove. He's in a class by himself. Truth be told. And by the way, Johnny, I'll give you what you want, man. I'm not I'm just fucking with you, man. Don't take me serious. Yeah, shout out to Johnny, man. Johnny saying that he said Canelo is gonna lose. He's gonna lose to Crawford. And that's what happened. So shout out to Johnny. He got it right. I'm glad I got it wrong. And in a weird way, I feel like I was doing reverse psychology because I do love Terence Crawford, but I just didn't like the idea. I felt like he was selling his own. Not because I thought Canelo was better than him, but because it's like, bro, you going up to 168, and like Canelo's boxing's big attraction, and they're not gonna give you a fair shake. But you know what? He was so dominant tonight. He didn't even need a fair shake. You know, I mean, he did need a fair shake. He got a fair shake with the judges, but like it wasn't a hard fight to score. It was pretty straightforward to score. So I'm happy. I'm actually very satisfied. It's great when a fight happens of this magnitude and then I get mad about it and I hate it, and then I have such low expectations for it that I leave happy and satisfied. That's beautiful. I can live with that. Shout out to Usman. He says, nah, that was a motherfucking cakewalk. That it was. And a part two, what would you do for Canelo? What would I do for Canelo? If I was Canelo's manager. I mean, I would try to get the Canelo. Honestly, I would try to get the Crawford rematch because Crawford is a guy that beat him already, and it's a big fight. It's a big payday, and you know, as a prideful fighter, he'll want to avenge that loss if he can. But if he can't do that, then I don't know. Like I honestly feel like the answer for both these guys, and far be it for me to tell these great fighters what to do with their careers, but I feel like the correct answer for both of these guys is actually to retire. There's nothing left to prove for either of them. So Sebastian says, at least we get in the fights. That's right. Yo, to be honest with you guys, what did you guys make of the card overall? I feel like the card was. I'm not gonna say it was terrible, but I'm not gonna say it was great. I feel like the card was like solid. Martinez and Billy was a great fight. Brandon Adams, Boachuk was a great fight. So you know what? I won't say it was mid. It was very good. It was very good. But the thing is, like, it had some very good moments, but it was very whack too because you had a couple of these Saudi guys that just aren't that good on the card. Like you had the dude Mohammed Balakau, whatever his name was. He got a main card slot, and it was basically a sparring session between a 7 and 4 guy. So I was like, eh. But Brandon Adams and Boachuk and Martinez versus Billy were both great fights. Shout out to my guy Usam. He said, and I'm reading this in my like Montreal like in your Montreal voice, your Canadian voice in my head. I'm reading it like that. He said, fuck Canelo forever. He was a walking punching bag tonight. Long range, mid range, short range. Bud was cooking. Canelo quit at the end. No mas. Yes, when shit gets hot for Canelo and things don't go his way and he's not in control, he never has the answers to make the adjustments. And that's been the case of Mayweather, Bivol, Crawford, and in my opinion, Golovkin won. So I would think so. I think Adams will beat the brakes off of Virgil. What are your thoughts, BT? I was thinking about that fight earlier. I'm still kind of trying to process what I think about that fight. I would love to see Virgil in that fight. Since Virgil's crying about Xander not fighting him, then he should go fight Brandon Adams if he beats Lubin. By the way, guys, let me see. Hold on. I thought it was a close fight, but I know, and this is a major key boxing. I thought it was a close fight, but I know that it could have gone either way. I bet it on Crawford, but I thought Canelo was too acclimated. I was wrong. That was my sentiments, you know. BT, you got your alarm ready for Inoue. Alarm? Man, we ain't going to sleep. This is the home of boxing on YouTube. You think we going to sleep? The same day Canelo and Crawford fought, the same day that Canelo got exposed by Crawford. You think we going to sleep? And we got Inoue fighting in a couple of hours? Nah, man, we ain't going to sleep. We turning up. Yeah, we talking boxing. We're gonna stay awake through the night.
You know, there's nothing that a cup of coffee can't solve. So we're staying awake to Inoue. I'm gonna end this live probably in the next 10 to 20 minutes or so, like that, or something like that. But we're gonna keep it going. There's 100 of you guys here. Y'all give me some great comments. Y'all get me fired up to talk some boxing and recap this historic event in the history of boxing. Terence Crawford becoming boxing seventh 5 division champion, first three-time undisputed champion, and the first fighter in the history of boxing to become the lineal super middleweight champion after previously being the lineal lightweight champion of the world. This is special, special, historic stuff. He says, Dania Beach got the best party favors. Shout out to Dania Beach. I ain't nowhere near Dania Beach. Just so you know, Major Key, right now, I'm not nowhere within spitting or shouting distance of Dania Beach. I'm not even on the same coast, same time zone. You know? I love your channel. I came from the debate community, but I've been liking the content I see in the box community. Appreciate you, champ. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me for all these years, or whether it's less than a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. You know, I fuck with everybody that messes with True School Sports. But do me a favor, guys. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you guys are watching from. I want to know how international we are on the broadcast. Let me know where you're watching from. Right now, I'm reporting to you guys live and direct from the Bay Area. I'm in California right now, and I'm in training camp with the future face of Japanese boxing, my boy Yugo Osaki, the WBC Youth Light Flyweight Champion, the WBO Asia Pacific Light Flyweight Champion, and quite frankly, out of all the young Japanese fighters, the one that I think has the highest ceiling. We're in training camp right now. We've been working hard for the last like 2.5, 3 weeks, and October 3rd we'll be out in upstate New York for his fight with Aziel VR, 21-4, 15 knockouts, Panama, WBO light flyweight title eliminator. If we win that fight, then Yugo Osaki becomes the mandatory challenger to Rene Santiago. So big time stuff is in the works. So listen, support Yugo Osaki, one of the best young fighters in the world, not just Japan, not just light flyweight, but the world. Period. He's really, really good, guys. I'm telling you, he's something to watch. Devin Haney by KO in November. Devin Haney is going to the hospital in November. It's his last world title fight. I hope you enjoy it. You know what I mean, though, bro. I'm proud of your success. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate all the support. Can we say Bud was and is the biggest puncher in the fight? I think so. I think he proved that tonight. BT, can you do a live exposed monologue for Canelo? I kind of went through that earlier. If you go back and you rewind the live, I got all that out the way, because like how does Canelo avoid Benavidez all these years, and then he let Terence Crawford come up from basically 147 and smack him around on Mexican Independence Day? We got Lake Erie, Australia in the building. Austin, Texas. We got the 407. Okay, shout out to you. Who would you favor in Bivol versus Crawford? That's a hell of a question. Man, it's hard to pick against either one of those guys. But you know what? I'm gonna be a casual. I'm gonna be a casual. Bivol got a loss. Terence don't. So fuck it. I'm gonna go with Terence. You know, that'd be a great fight. Canelo fighting people who could give him a loss. That's important for other boxers. I hope they also do the same. Well, no, well, yeah, like he I give Canelo credit. He's fought some great fighters, but we all know the only reason he fought Terence Crawford is because of how bad he looked against Majmov, and because he's a welterweight. Let's be real. We know that if he was the same size as Terence Crawford, they would not fight, because, you know, there's other examples of other fighters he did not fight in the past that, you know, we could give. But I don't want to get into all that right now. We're just chilling. From Seattle, fam, long-time subscriber, what a fight. Shout out to Seattle. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. I've never touched that part of America. It's the only it's the only region of America I've never touched. So I'm looking forward to doing that at some point in the future. But shout out to you in Seattle, and thank you for the support. Um, Bud and Canelo are the same size for that. Bud should fight Benavidez. Look at their body frames, bro. Listen, man. Bud and Canelo are the same size, but one guy was more acclimated to the weight than the other one was. That's why it's a special victory for Terence. Portland, Oregon, in the building. The Pacific Northwest is here. The people out up there in the Pacific Northwest are showing love to True School. Shout out to you guys. Um, Shout out to Johnny. He says I'm out. BT, love you. Shout out to you, Johnny. Love you too. Um, you're welcome here in the Pacific Northwest anytime, bro. I'll definitely love to see the Pacific Northwest. Canelo, the fighting pride of Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, exposed. Yes, yes, man. I gotta be honest, I did not think I would be this excited after Canelo Crawford. You guys, like, I really hated this fight when it got made because Terence Crawford is such a great fighter. I hated the idea of him losing to Canelo. Like, Canelo just getting all this clout after, thank God, thank God. What happened to the PBC rider Hyro? I don't know, man, but he's been talking a bunch of shit to me on Instagram all day, so I don't know, but he's not here and he should be here. I'm a Canelo hater, but he still let me down. Yeah, I think Canelo, in a sense, right? Whether you're a Canelo hater or a supporter, I feel like he let everyone down, because it wasn't like, let's be real, guys. This fight was it was built up to be this competitive fight, right? It wasn't that. It was, it was built up to be a fight between two guys on the same level. It wasn't that. So I think he disappointed his own fans by losing, and he even disappointed the Bud fans by not being a bigger challenge. But I'm sure they're not complaining. So he wasn't exposed. Bud is just that good. No, but two things can be true. Two things can be true. I'm not saying I'm not taking away from Bud's win. This whole live is about doing nothing but giving Terence his flowers and his just due and what he's earned rightfully in this sport. But at the same time, you lost to a guy who came up from welterweight. BT, when was Canelo's last masterclass? Oh, it's been some time. We're talking about like Saunders. We're talking about like Saunders, maybe Plant. Everything pretty much post Plant has been trash. John Ryder and Munguia and Charlo and William Skull. Ugh, like just bad. I think Bud next opponent could be the winner of Fundura versus Thurman. It's more of a natural weight class for Bud, and either opponent will be intriguing. Thurman been calling him out for a long time. Keith Thurman versus Bud. What year is this? What is it? 2000? Is it 2015? Like, what year is this? And Billy got exposed tonight. And Billy, I mean, I thought Billy won, to be honest with you. I picked Martinez, and I actually thought he would do better in terms of getting his range and punching through the target. I didn't really get what I wanted to see from Lester performance-wise, but I thought he closed the fight strong. I didn't agree with the draw. But yeah, Billy, I wouldn't go as far as saying he got exposed. Lester's very good, and I thought he was actually, if anybody actually got screwed out of a win tonight, I think it was actually Billy. I thought he won, but it's good for business, right? Like, and Billy and Martinez have an exciting fight. They go to a draw, and there you go. TKO Boxing, Dana White and them. They got a main event. And they got a main event that they could actually, do in the future. One that people will be excited to watch. So, hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Put my phone in the charger. Hold on. There you go. Okay. All right. Shout out to Hyro. It's about time you showed up. You was in witness protection the whole live. He says, you're right. The era of guys that fought on HBO is over. You're basically saying October 25th is the end of Joseph Parker when Fabio stops him with Parker fight. No. I didn't say that. Now, I wasn't talking about that HBO guy. That's you saying that. His run to continue because he's not losing to Fabio Woodley. My first time seeing Lester fight, seems like a brawler, not as much of a boxer. Yeah, he's definitely more of a slugger, more of a brawler, but he normally is able to get like range to punch. And Billy didn't give this guy no range to punch. Um, and Billy didn't give no range to punch at all. Like he spent most of the fight pushing and Billy back, like literally pushing him back with his forearms. So it was a hard night of work for him, but he still found some holes in the Billy defense throughout the fight, and especially down the stretch. And I think that's why they gave him a draw, even though I thought it was unjust. Why don't you just go live while watching the Inoue fight? Because I'm gonna use my phone to watch um, Facebook. I'm gonna use my phone to watch it on Facebook, and I'll come on live after it's done. Straight up, I'll come on live after it's done, and I'll give you guys another hour and a half or 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? My eyes by that time are probably gonna be like like redder than they are now. You know, and I ain't smoking it. I'm just that tired right now. DT, will Yuga wake up early to watch the Inoue fight or not? Will we get a Yuga signed glove giveaway as a giveaway? At some point maybe we could do that, but right now we're just worried about winning this fight because this is a very important fight. This young kid, man, he's so dedicated. One of the most dedicated people I've ever been around. Like, you know, and I've been around Angelo Leo, and you guys know how I talk about him, but like, he ain't far off. He you know, and he's 22 years old, and he's already like so advanced in so many ways, and he's getting better as the days go on, and it's like one of my greatest honors in boxing to like just be with him for this journey. So you need a laptop, bro. I have a laptop, but for some reason, the house I'm staying in, the Wi-Fi won't connect to like the Wi-Fi connects to every device on this house but my laptop. So it is what it is. I don't need to go live during the Inoue fight. I'll just watch it. I'll chill, and then when that fight is done, I'll come live right here, and we'll talk about it for an hour and a half or so, and you know, figure out what the hell to make of whatever happens in that fight. But listen, make sure you smash that like button. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. It's True School after dark, True School in the morning. Listen, there's 97 of you here. I got 84 likes. Run it up. Smash that like button. Let's get it to at least 100. Before I get off this live, let's get it to at least 100. You know? Or at least close to 100. What fights should we be looking for out for on the Inoue undercard? Uni Takada versus Ryusuke Matsumoto is probably the main one. I know you got Yoshiki Takei versus Christian Medina. I don't really care about that fight because Yoshiki Takei is overrated to me, but that's just me. Who fought more fighters closer to their prime, Canelo or Bud? That's a great question. Because Canelo didn't really fight that many guys in their prime. And the guys he did fight in their prime were not really that great, if you think about it. I mean, Austin Trout was really good. I'll give him that win, but like, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders at 168, you know. You call me a hater because I hate on fighters that you like. That's not true. You do. You definitely do. You love being the contrarian, Hyro. Shout out to Joaquin in the building. Joaquin Lance. Got Joaquin Lance. Kell Brook was hosed. Callum Smith ducked the Benavidez fade. A lot of guys did. A lot of guys were ducking the Benavidez fade back in those days. Because Benavidez is a real one. He's a real one. A lot of y'all are saying Bud is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. What y'all think? Y'all think Bud would have beat Sugar Ray Leonard? Do y'all think he would have beat Floyd? Do y'all think he would beat Duran? How do you think he would have did against the great welterweights? Does he beat Felix Trinidad? Does he beat Miguel Cotto? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? One thing I will say. It's been a long time. Like the Canelo fans were hating on my boy Victor Postal. And Victor, the Iceman Postal, when Crawford fought him, was elite. He knocked out Lucas Batiste. He was the guy Danny Garcia didn't want to fight. He's a very good fighter. Even in his older years, when he wasn't even in his prime anymore, Victor Postal literally gave Josh Taylor a great fight. I thought he beat Jose Ramirez and got screwed. Victor Postal's a very good fighter, but people don't like to give credit where credit is due. They they just want to hate. But Victor Postol, quiet as kept. I think he gave Terence Crawford a hard fight to Canelo. And they said Canelo would be Marvin Hagler. I never thought that, but I mean, that shit. I said he beat Terence Crawford, so that ain't far off. That's still pretty stupid. So I think he beats Floyd. Insane IQ. You know, one thing I just to expound upon that. By the way, guys, we got 10 minutes, and I'm getting up off this. When I hit 90 minutes, I'm getting up off this. So smash that like button, get your comments in, super chat, because when it gets to 90, I'm getting up off here. But when one criticism I could give of Floyd's career is that Floyd, most of the guys he fought were come forward pressure fighters. You know, he didn't really beat too many like elite pure boxers. Now, I wouldn't call Terence Crawford an elite pure boxer, but tonight in the Ray Beltran fight and even in the Postal fight, he's shown that ability to be a pure boxer and sharpshooter when the time and the occasion calls for it. So that means he's a versatile fighter. That means he can make adjustments. That means he can be adaptable, right? And I don't think Floyd ever fought anybody with the adaptability with Terence Crawford, you know? So I think, you know, I'd still pick Floyd, but, you know, Terence is worthy of being in that conversation, even though I don't think he's better than Floyd. BT, I can't wait till Gary fights Andy so I can expose your ass. Dalton Smith versus Matias and Woolley versus... We shall see, man. We shall see what is fact and what is fiction. Do you think Billy Joe Saunders Canelo beats Terence Crawford? That's a great question. That was a better Canelo, but honestly, it ain't too much different. I mean, he did look like Zach Thomas. Like, he did like look different in that fight in terms of his physique and his reflexes and things like that. But I mean, he's always fought. His tendency's been the same damn near his whole entire career. So I don't think too much would have been different other than Canelo. I mean, maybe being a little sharper, but that's just like Canelo. Like, he's a great fighter when things go his way, when he's the boss, when he's in control. But when he fights a pure boxer that doesn't allow him to be in control, an elite fighter that doesn't allow him to be in control, a la, you know, Mayweather or Crawford or Bivol. You know, we see how it goes for him time and time and time again. It's a recurring pattern. How about Kovalev Canelo? But yes, Canelo's feet. Canelo is fast up on his feet. With Kovalev, oh my God, I got some coffee. With Kovalev, he was good in that fight too. He's very good in that fight, but nah, man, tendencies are too similar throughout the course of his career. Bro, they made Bud come out to mariachi music, and then he beat the brakes off of Canelo on Singledom or Mexican Independence Day. He put belt to ass, BTA. Hopefully, I'm sure somewhere there's a bunch of hurt Mexican fans saying that Canelo, that Crawford was running and that he needs to stand in the ring and have a real fight like a man. You know, somewhere there's a Mexican boxing fan saying that. Overall, BT, how was the UFC production compared to the Zone? The pacing was ass like any reality season show. Yeah, pacing was ridiculous. That's part of the reason why I'm tired, because the card feels like it was 10 hours. But as far as production, it was cool. I mean, commentators were all right. I wasn't too. I thought Andre Ward did a good job. Max Kellerman's a cuck these days, and yeah, man, presentation was okay. But yeah, to your point, Haro, it was better than the Zone. I'm Mexican and it was all around Mexicans. We didn't fuck with Canelo. Yeah, a lot of Mexicans don't mess with Canelo. Why is that? I feel like Mexicans say that Canelo isn't Mexican enough. He doesn't act like a Mexican. What's the reasoning for that? Because I've heard many different theories. But what do you think it is? Yeah, Terence Crawford might be like in the top 15, top 10 greatest fighters of all time. This win really has historical significance to the highest levels. And you know what? I owe the man an apology. I owe the man a big congratulations. I thought he was gonna really come in here and not be Terence Crawford. But you know what? He stayed true to who he was inside and outside the ring, and he won. He got his hand raised. Yeah, Lord Zed, but I mean to be the lineal champion at 135 and then become the lineal champion at 168, it's never been done before. It's historical. It's like the stuff he's done in his career is the shit that we read about in boxing history books. Like we hear about these mythological figures like Henry Armstrong and Sam Langford that we either can't watch or there's not a lot of footage of, and he's done that like in front of our eyes. I'll tell you this. A lot of you guys are going off about the commentators. I thought the commentators were terrible. I thought they were ass. I thought they were terrible. But really and truthfully, like, I can't believe how biased they were for Callum Walsh. Callum Walsh, guys, like, look, I've never been a big Callum Walsh guy. I think he's a good TV fighter if you get the right style in front of him. He sells tickets and things like that. But as far as his actual skills, I've never really been the highest on him. And yeah, like, I don't know if he beat. I really don't know if he beat Fernando Vargas Jr. I don't. I don't know if he beat Fernando Vargas Jr. But even if he thought he won, he didn't win no damn 10-0, and they scored it like 10-0, bro. It's ridiculous. So that's gonna be like the new Canelo of TKO boxing. And the thing is, like, I'm sorry. If we're just talking about in terms of skills and what he brings to the table, yo, Callum Walsh sucks. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, sometimes I gotta be blunt. Like, he's a strong fighter when you stand in front of him, but like he's slow. He don't got no punch selection like that. He don't really feint. His timing isn't that great. He's bad. He's really, really bad. They invested him in young, and he hasn't improved like they anticipated. No, he's not that good. Like I'll give Turkey credit for this, right? I feel like Turkey in this case, his heart was in the right place. Like, Turkey allowed the prospects to get a big stage and a big platform to showcase their talents, right? Which I like. However, I think they should have put bigger names on the undercard. In my opinion, like Brandon Adams and Boachuk, the rematch should have been on the undercard. Truth be told, Vargas and Walsh didn't deliver. That Muslim kid, the Saudi Arabian kid against the other Crawford on the card. Yeah, that was a sparring session. Franklin versus Disco, I heard, was a pretty terrible fight. Reita Sutsumi's fight was a mismatch. Steve Nelson got the brakes beaten off of him and got stopped apparently. To be honest, Crawford's performance excelled Leonard's performance against Hagler. That's a fight I still feel should have went Hagler's way. I thought Hagler won too. I think I'm in the minority of people that think that, but because I feel like everyone I talked to always said Leonard won, but I thought Hagler won. Yeah, Saudi fighters are not been taken serious. Listen, if you want me to take a Saudi Arabian boxer serious, and like, trust me, if there's anybody on YouTube that loves when fighters come from countries that are not the norm, it's me. But we all know that Saudi Arabian boxing is not anything great right now. And we know that, like, if we're just being honest in comparison to the rest of the world, their fighters suck. And they need a lot of work, and they need to build up the boxing culture and infrastructure in Saudi Arabia. So that's going to take some time. But in the intermediate period, those guys should not be getting, prime time TV slots. They're not good enough yet. They are not up to par. And that's just what it is. And that's just the truth. So, guys, let me see. What time is it? It's 1:11. So if it's 1:11 here, that means on the East Coast, it's like, what, 4... But I'm going to ask you guys a question. Has the Inoue card started yet? Is there anybody fighting on the Inoue card right now, if you speak? Somebody in the comments. I know there's 100 of you here. Surely one of you guys can let me know. Is anybody fighting right now on the Inoue card? Yes or no? Let me know. Because I'm going to use my phone to go on Facebook and watch the fight. So I'm going to get out this live. But there will be listen to me, guys. Immediately following the Inoue fight, I'm doing another live, and it'll be about 90 minutes to 2 hours long, depending on how lit it gets. And then after that, I'm gonna rest my whole Sunday, and enjoy my Sunday of rest because it's been a long week of training camp, and it's gonna be an even long week of training camp next week. So you guys said definitely started. So look, guys. On that note, look. This will conclude my immediate aftermath reaction for Terence Crawford versus Canelo. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go get some coffee in my system, and I'm gonna go watch the Inoue fight on my phone right here. And I will come back and I will go live after, and that's how it's gonna be. But listen, thank you guys so much. Make sure you smash that like button. Definitely take the time to subscribe and keep supporting the channel. And I will see you on the next live in roughly 3 to 4 hours. So see you soon. And like I say in every single one of these videos, congratulations to Bud. And if you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.